Hello. How are we doing? I had a little thought today that I thought I'd start this little video off with. I might have, whatever, it was a fine sentence. I have probably mentioned this before, but I'm not sure how many videos I've made of it. Probably only like 7. So, I'm going to tell this in an anecdotal form. Long story short, worked at a kiwi fruit processing warehouse in New Zealand and worked with this Australian French couple who were just like, when you have a shitty job and then you just like bond with certain people and it just makes your whole day. Anyway, we were always chatting with each other and talking about this and that. The big job that we often had to do was repacking. That was kind of mostly the job, actually. Which meant like each pallet, they would have a quality control. And we had to go through every single box and re-box it because there was some sort of failure of whatever standard that they're looking for. One thing that would often happen is there was different sizes of fruit, so like whatever, they all had numbers, and maybe this pallet was supposed to be a 38 or a 24, whatever. These are just sizes. But maybe, for whatever reason, people had packed some of the wrong size fruit into the box, and they're all supposed to be the same size fruit. And what would happen is you'd take all of them out, and if it was the wrong size, you'd have to throw them in the discard bin. And oftentimes, they were perfectly fine fruit. There's nothing wrong with those fruits. They're just in the wrong box. And we always had this like philosophical conversation about how there's actually nothing wrong with this fruit. It's just in the wrong box. And I feel like that's a little metaphor for maybe my life right now, because I'm just here. I can't do work or whatever that I want because I'm just in the wrong situation. I'm hopefully moving into the right direction. In a few weeks when I'm in Croatia, I'll be back working on a yacht. I'll be traveling, seeing places that I haven't been before, and hopefully actually having a like purpose and meaning to my days, as opposed to now where I just sort of like wake up and have no goals or anything. Outward goals, inward goal. I've been trying to like self-improve a little bit, but it's hard to measure or care about that outside of me. So yeah, I'm gonna have some measurable goals, some actual observable impact on others and the people, the things around me. So that's my thought of the day. And also just shout out to having those coworkers that just get you through those days. It was definitely Jessica and a few other key people when I was on the Australian gold mine. But I think I left at a good time because some people were leaving and some people were this and that, and there's always people coming and going. And then when you're the one who's been there for 2 years, it's like, I'm going nowhere. It was very good money, though. I probably would have stayed if my visa wasn't expiring at the time. But here I am. So that's my thought for the day. I had a very unproductive morning, so this is my epilogue to that story. I've made cheese toast and my homemade sauerkraut. Also my homemade bread. So, I've been getting into doing that. What am I on? Second cup of coffee? Yes. And it is 11:30 a.m. I don't know if you can see, but it is raining out, as I said in the last video yesterday, if you're following along. So the volunteer gardening that I sometimes do on a Friday was obviously canceled. Yeah, it's hard to see, but just trust me, it's sort of raining. But I did eventually get bread in the oven, even though I should have done it earlier. I just did one giant loaf, and it looks like it's starting to get almost done. Oh. 3 minutes left on the timer, but I might have a poke of it after this video. That's my bread. I did do a little cleanup of the kitchen, so it's not a horrible mess. Although I did a lot of that yesterday, I did waste the almost entire morning scrolling on my phone because I went to go check if the gardening was on, and then once I figured out it was canceled, just 2 hours go by. Have not even made the bed. Have not done my stairs. Just an unmade bed. Nothing has happened except for the bread has gone in like 3 hours after it should have, even though I was awake and could have very well easily put it in, but I didn't. Yeah. So I hope you're doing well, and maybe if it's not doing as well as you would like, maybe it's not a you problem. Maybe you're a good fruit in a wrong sized box. So think about that.